connecting your brain and body with interactive games and tests. Why is there no physical activity in today's health physical? Trazer is an holistic technology used to rehabilitate, prevent falls, and improve sport performance. Trazer reports provide you, your clinician, your physical therapist, or athletic trainer objective data to make decisions on your health and performance over time. Measure what matters to change your game. Take the Trazer Challenge. Confidence, growth, connected by Trazer.
At Fusion Sport, we're all about driving human performance. We develop and support a range of technologies all designed to assist people to be their best. Smartabase is used by hundreds of elite sporting organisations across the globe, and more recently has been used by the military and performing arts as well.
Our Smartabase technology has at the heart of it an integrated and connected philosophy. What's different about Smartabase is that it's truly flexible and self-engineerable. That really puts the power into our customers' hands, and it allows them to use it in unique ways that perhaps we haven't even thought of.
Between herself and the rest of the field, but here comes Gemmy Stone.
Good evening, everybody. What is going on? Your man, Eric Wilson, in for the Sports Arena on a Wednesday night. Hope everyone is doing well. Make sure you hug and tell your loved ones you love them. Let's get down to business. So tonight's going to be a little bit different, if you will, because you know this is the Sports Arena. And the invitation is always open for anyone to come on, join, and basically say how they feel. But I got some special guests in the building with me tonight. First and foremost, though, I got my man, Fox Sports, 1340 AM, Cardiac Cane, Fin Fanatic, DBNA Television on Roku, Sideline Sports Network. I'm not sure if I forgot anything else, but let me get him in here. Mr. John Shears in the building.
You got everything. You got the laundry list.
I got it. I love it. Mike Carrington is going to join us in a little bit. He is calling the game this evening, but I brought along some guests this evening. The last time you saw this gentleman, him and I did not have the greatest of conversations, but we were able to mutually appreciate where the other brother was coming from. So as I always told him, the door is always open and you're welcome to come back. So sports reporter without pay, Mr. Ray Lynn is in the building. Ray Lynn, what's going on, man? Welcome back. Oh, you're muted, sir. We can't hear you. No. I'll let you get the technical side. We'll come right back to you, sir. Let me go ahead and get my man here, the future doctor from Jarrell's Journal, Jarrell Heslip's in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Hey, man. Good to see you guys, man. It's been a while. How you doing?
Doing well. Welcome back.
Man, I can't complain, man. Everything's going good. Good to see you, John. How you been, bro?
I've been all right. It's nice to see you, too. I like the background that you got going on.
Yeah, what's that? Boston and
yeah, Boston and the Knicks. I think the Knicks are up a little. Looking like it's not going to be last year. They're looking hungry out there right now.
You know your boy Stephen A is going to be looking good. Let me see. We got our man Ray Lynn. You in the house with us, brother?
What about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. There we go.
We in the building.
Ray Lynn, Sports Reporters Without Pay, joining us. So, gentlemen, as always, I appreciate y'all's time. I kind of want to we had a conversation Monday night, John, I, and the rest of the crew did about Baker Mayfield. And I want to get Ray Lynn and Jarrell, I want to get your guys' thoughts on this because he was officially benched today. Case Keenum starting tomorrow night. We've always said that Baker's just not the guy. He's not a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes. Those are my four who I feel are above, Baker Mayfield in the AFC. Let me go ahead and say it again. He just jumped off his show, but was kind enough to join our show. What's up, Chuck? Good to see you again, my brother. Long time.
What's up, brothers? What's going on? What's going on, man? Chilling.
So, Ray Lynn, let me go to you first, my brother. Talk to me about Baker Mayfield. I got to hear from you because I feel like we might be on the same page with this one. I don't know.
If you looked up mediocre in the dictionary, it should be a picture of Baker Mayfield right next to it. Like, he is the epitome of a mediocre quarterback. Colin Howard, who I'm not a huge fan of, but he did this segment and he compared Baker Mayfield's numbers to Gardner Minshew numbers. And the only difference between Gardner Minshew and Baker Mayfield is Baker Mayfield's name coming into the NFL. Like, he's Baker Mayfield. So he can put up mediocre numbers and it'll get glossed over. But when you look at the numbers, he's not that much better than Gardner Minshew. And then fans and media have this lazy way of evaluating quarterbacks. So he goes 11-5 last year, and it's like, oh, he's arrived now. He was mediocre last year. About 62% of his passes, which was like 30th in the league. He was like 18th. There's nothing great about Baker Mayfield. He's better at commercials than he is football. So when you saw the last show, we was talking tiers. He's in my tier 4 or 5, somewhere way down there. Like, he's not a quarterback you can put on any team and immediately feel like we just got better because we have Baker Mayfield. He's mediocre to me.
All right. And like I said, you and I are on the same page. I have not been a fan of him since draft night. I thought when you had the opportunity to get, at the time, a generational talent that I thought Saquon Barkley was going to be, I said the only thing that I'll put Baker above rather than Saquon is the fact that Baker's been more durable. That's really about it. Other than that, he just is not that guy. So we do agree. But Darrell, talk to me about this because Case Keenum is going to start tomorrow night, and I'm going to ask the question. Is this now going to be the Case Keenum season where the Cleveland Browns actually become the team that many of us thought they could be, even though they had Baker?
That's interesting. And I'm behind on my news, so hearing this is first thing to me. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like what Ray just mentioned. Last year, maybe Baker is coming around, but I'm also looking at his who he had around him. We had Jarvis Landry, who was a cushion for him. You know what I'm saying? He is not there anymore. He is mediocre, always been mediocre, but I thought he had a ceiling that he hasn't touched yet. Now going to Case Keenum, is he better than Baker? I don't think that's a good push, but maybe this will motivate Baker to do better in the future. So that's rough. That's rough for Cleveland fans. I tell you that.
Yeah, and that's who you feel most bad for is Cleveland fans because they actually thought that they had finally turned the page. They actually thought that they were in the process of maybe getting out of the dumpster and getting out of the cellar, if you will. John, you're shaking your head no, so go ahead, brother. Give it to me.
First, I got to touch on some things. First of all, Jarrell, Jarvis Landry's still there. He is not gone. Baker Mayfield, Ray, did have a pretty good statistic year last year. It was 26 touchdowns to 8 picks. So that was pretty good. I'm not buying him. I know what the Cleveland Browns did, and I thought it was wrong. They were prisoners of the moment. The team got to the divisional round. They gave the Chiefs a run for their money with Mahomes getting hurt, and the team got excited, and they gave him the 5th-year option. They shouldn't have done that. I said they shouldn't have done it at the moment, but they were prisoners of the moment, and they bought into him, and they gave him the 5th-year option. Never should have done that. I don't feel bad for Cleveland fans. To touch on what Eric said, I was in Canton, and all these Cleveland fans were all hyped about the Browns, and they were excited about the Super Bowl. And Alex and I tried to tell these guys, you got Baker Mayfield, and as long as you have Baker Mayfield, a game manager, you're not going to the Super Bowl. This isn't the 2000 Ravens where you can go to the Super Bowl with a game manager. It's not Trent Dilfer. No, the AFC is a lot more competitive than it was back in 2000. You have the Chiefs, you have the Bills, you have the Ravens. You're not getting by those teams unless you have a legit quarterback. And Baker Mayfield, when healthy, is a game manager at best. And the 26 touchdowns to 8 picks is because of the play action and because you got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's the reason he did so good. I'm not taking anything away, but without those guys, it's like Ryan Tannehill. Without Derrick Henry, he wouldn't be quite as good as he is statistically. That's how I see it.
Okay, fair enough. And yes, Jarvis Landry, he's out, but he is still a part of the team. Yeah. But you've got running backs who are not playing in Kareem Hunt and also Nick Chubb. So the question then has been, does OBJ need to get traded? So, Chuck, I want to bring you in on this piece because for everything that OBJ was in New York, he's not in Cleveland. And I know injuries have played a part in that. But I just feel like Baker, the one, I guess, positive note that I can give him is that when OBJ isn't on the field, he seems to play better. So, Chuck, talk to me about the whole OBJ-Baker dynamic, if you will.
To me, I think Baker Mayfield, first and foremost, I think he's a guy who likes to be in the limelight. And I feel that anybody else who, maybe threatens that, because as a quarterback, you kind of have the power to shut that down somewhat, being honestly. So I think that's kind of has something to do with it as well. But as far as I think they do need to trade him. I think it's best for both parties. I think OBJ made a mistake due to emotions. I honestly felt like he should have stayed in New York from the get-go. And like even with him,
well, that was through a trade, not free agency.
Right, but he wanted to leave. Like he desired to go somewhere else. So I think, and that was for emotional reasons. But you're right, yes, sir. But even with him, right now they don't know. I think he may not be playing tomorrow. So it's like, Case Keenum is in a situation where you have an opportunity that could be a blessing, but it also looks like it's going to be a curse. You have nobody that's playing tomorrow. So, but I do think he needs to get traded. I think it's best for Cleveland. If Baker's going to be their guy, like you just said, Eric, it seems that he plays better without OBJ. And if that's your guy, I think it's common sense to me that you let OBJ go on his way and just ride with Baker if that's your guy. I would like to see OBJ in a situation with somebody like a.
Don't say it, Chuck. I know what you fit to say. I know what you want to say.
But look, I'm biased. I'm biased.
Yes.
Like a Green Bay situation or something like that. Like I would like to see him in a situation like that. Even though he wouldn't be the number one guy, I think if you put Devontae Adams on one side, you put OBJ on the other side, the league has a problem. Something like that. But I definitely think a change needs to happen.
So you and Stephen A. Can I suffice to say you and Stephen A. are saying that if OBJ goes to the Packers will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. That's what you're saying?
I can't say that because of their defense.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure, Raylan, you smiling.
Let's not forget 1-5 in the NFC Championship. Aaron Rodgers.
I think they can score with anybody though.
Hey, hold on, John. Philly was what 0-3 until we finally broke the ceiling.
You lost 4 in a row before Andy Reid got you over the hump.
Exactly. So maybe OBJ might be the missing piece. You don't know. You can't sit there and say that now.
It took Terrell Owens to get you guys to the Super Bowl. So
and maybe it'll take OBJ to get Aaron Rodgers back to the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. You never know. Raylan, what's up, man?
I think a lot of times we get hung up on players' names and not what we're really seeing. Like Julio Jones isn't Julio Jones anymore, right? Sure. We haven't seen Odell Beckham be Odell Beckham in like 3 years now. So like everybody's like, oh, it's the team. Maybe he's just not that good. Like maybe whatever his injury issues that he dealt with, he's just not the same anymore. Like I don't know if giving him a new team and a new quarterback is going to change anything. Like because OBJ was making plays. Like he was a phenomenal playmaker. You could throw it anywhere, you can go get it. That was his thing, right? We haven't seen that in a Cleveland uniform, period. So,
and his durability, you're 100% right, Ray. Like his durability is a concern too.
Right. Go ahead, Jarrell.
Oh, go ahead.
I got a question for you. That's a good point, right? Very good point. My question is, I still believe in OBJ. He is he's a playmaker. He is a playmaker. Still got it. Durability is a problem, but is it that he's in the wrong system, like you say, and playing with the wrong quarterback, wrong offense, that is making a difference in his productivity, or is it him as a player and his injuries? I think it's the team, obviously. I mean, not obviously, but to me, I think it's the team more so. I think he hasn't lost anything. His work ethic is still there. his ability to make plays is still there. He hasn't lost speed. He hasn't lost his hands. He has it still. I'm riding with OBJ. You know, just me. I like what you're saying, but I'm still riding with him. And I feel you. It is a big thing. A lot of fans, like me included, will get caught up in a namesake, but he has it. He has it.
And I was just going to add, I don't think anything is wrong that you said per se, Ray, but I have to agree with Jarrell. When it comes to injury, I give you that point, but I've watched plenty of games, plenty of seasons where this man is getting separation. He's open. The ball is not going to him. It's just simply not going to him. I mean, he's beating this man 5 yards downfield, and Baker just doesn't throw it or make the throw. He goes to Landry, or he goes to the tight end, or he dumps it down to Chubb. He's just not going to him. So, but I agree with what you're saying. I don't think he's quite the same as New York's OBJ, but I still don't think he's getting the same opportunity to show that he is that same player.
But what if this has been OBJ all along? I mean, if you go back to his Giant days, even when he had those big years, what was he, to Ray Lynn's point? He was a one-trick pony. He was the slant guy to Eli Manning, and that was to take it to the house or bust. That was their offense. Remember that? That's all he is a one-trick pony. He's not a guy, the Devontae Adams, that's going to, on 3rd and 7, he's going to get you 8 yards. He's the one-trick pony, and we forget about that because of the catch. But aside from the catch, I mean, what has he really been in his career? You go back and look at his entire career. He's been a slant guy, and that's it. Like Michael Thomas, Santa Claus. Like, other than that, like, what is he?
So,
I mean,
John,
seriously.
My question for you. Now, mind you, he's been on the Giants and the Cleveland. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. But I don't care if you're a one-trick pony if the other team can't stop it.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't matter to me.
But he's not an elite receiver like we make him out to be.
But I look at Randy Moss. Randy Moss won't do nothing but run a 9. And that's it. He's not going across the middle. He's not doing nothing. He's going to get on the sideline. And he's just going to run. But there's nothing you can do about it. So to me, that's any sport. If you can't stop me from doing what I do well, and I'm still unstoppable, I have no issue with that.
But Randy Moss is also like a Calvin Johnson type of build, or Calvin Johnson's a Randy Moss type of build, whatever you want to call it. Those guys, OBJ is not that build though.
He's I was just making sure we go in there. I was like, I know for a fact y'all ain't throwing OBJ along the same lines of Randy Moss or Calvin Johnson.
No,
I'll have to shut this whole show down.
He's like Deshaun Jackson was in Philly. The one-trick pony, and that's all you got, and that's all you're going to get out of him. He's always hurt.
And trust me, I'm not comparing him to Randy Moss. I do know better. I'm comparing him to the point of the one-trick pony. It doesn't matter to me if you're a one-trick pony if the other team can't do nothing about it. I have no issues. Okay, that's my point. If you're doing one thing and the other team simply can't stop you, what's the issue?
Right, Raylan, I'm gonna give you the final word because then I do want to keep it moving.
No, I just wanted to say that Jarrell is rolling with OBJ because they twins. They look alike.
Oh,
I'm looking. I mean, I would just echo the same sentiments as before that. OBJ had one of the most phenomenal starts we've seen to a career from a wide receiver. I think he led the league in receiving as a rookie, right? And then he comes back and has 2 phenomenal seasons, right? That was 5-6 years ago. Like, we haven't seen anything remotely close to that in 5 years. So how long before we go, maybe he's just not that anymore? I don't know what it is we're waiting on to say it's everything and everybody else's fault, but it's not him. Like all these years we said it was Matt Ryan. Maybe Julio just don't know how to find the end zone. You get what I'm saying? Like how long do we give excuses for everything else before we say maybe OBJ just isn't that good anymore? His name is bigger than his game right now. And for me, he's going to have to show me.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Let's move on because I got my man John Shear in here, who is a huge Miami Dolphins fan. So, John, what's going on with your boy Tua? Because I've seen everything today, whether it be in the chat, whether it's been just online. What's up with Tua, and is he still going to be in a Dolphins uniform?
I don't believe it. I mean, I've been here in Washington all day, and I've heard Washington before, and the Houston Texans don't want anything to do with Tua. They made that clear today, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to Houston. They don't want any part of him. I just think it's a shame because this guy's started, 11 games, and you had a freak hip injury, and anytime this guy throws an interception, everybody makes a big deal out of it, but Patrick Mahomes can throw 8 interceptions and nobody makes a big deal out of that. Every time this guy makes any little mistake, it's a big deal. Anytime he nicks his finger or his ankle, it's a big deal. Everything this guy does, I don't understand it. Like, what is everybody's problem with this guy? What is the Dolphins' problem with this guy? The guy's been nothing. He's quiet. He doesn't run his mouth, but yet it seems the front office and the coaching staff who drafted him don't want him. Brian Flores was benching him last year. When you let rookies play through the struggles, you let them play through that stuff. And then this year, we're talking about all this trade stuff, and clearly the Dolphins have been involved in getting Watson. And if they are, then that means Tua's not their guy. I don't understand. I get going for Watson, but I don't understand giving up on Tua so quick. What is it about this guy who's played 11 games, never seen a guy play less than one full season and get booted, aside from Josh Rosen? But, I mean, we knew Josh Rosen was a dumpster fire right off the bat. Tua's not a dumpster fire. Like, he's shown flashes that he's really good. And, yeah, he's made mistakes, but, I mean, the guy's played 11 games. Yeah, give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I guess 2021, and we don't have the Aaron Rodgers treatment where you wait 4 years before you evaluate him, but this is just absurd to bury the guy before he ever really had a chance. And not to mention, I mean, Chuck knows this. The offensive line, worst in the league. Chan Gailey, dinosaur, terrible offensive coordinator. They have like 3 offensive coordinators this year. They have no receivers because they're always hurt. Besides Waddle, they have Mac Hollins, Jakeem Grant, guys like that as his receiver. I mean, Gesicki would miss games, and they have guys named Derwin Smythe catching the ball for him. Myles Gaskin has zero idea how to block anybody coming in, so you can't have him back at running back on pass plays because he has the worst grade in the league for any running back pass blocking. You have no run game, which is the worst in the league, and your defense is one of the worst in the league this year, but yet you're going to blame it on Tua. That makes literally no sense.
Well, I mean, John, listen, like we always say, we give quarterbacks all the credit. We also give them all the blame. It doesn't matter where the fault lies. At the end of the day, we put it on as media, as journalists, as fans, whatever you want to call us, at whatever our position is.
But if you're throwing to fifth string receivers, like for basically your entire rookie year, because, I mean, Chuck knows this, all the receivers were out last year. So you're basically throwing to fifth, sixth string receivers your whole season, backup tight ends, third string tight ends, backup running backs, no offensive line, basically all rookies last year. And you're coming off a major hip injury where you had no time in the preseason. You had no time with your guys, and then they just throw you in. And then they start benching you. I mean, tell me how any quarterback that's ever had to deal with all that nonsense that I listed.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, John. I'm just saying that's what happens. You know, NFL stands for not for long. So, I mean, if you don't provide an instant impact or some type of spark from jump. Now, listen, did the Miami Dolphins do Tua dirty? I might say yes, but you knew going in what his injury was, and you still took a chance on this young man. Okay, so Brian Flores, if we're going to put blame, then Brian Flores and the management staff in the front office should have taken that into consideration a little more before they decided to bring this young man in, because like you said, we've seen flashes. We haven't seen consistency. And that is where the problem lies. Chuck, give me your thoughts on this as also a Dolphins fan.
First and foremost, I never agreed with the change last year from the get-go. I felt like they should have. I get it. You brought him in and you had to give him the ropes, but I felt like they were in a situation to have a very successful season last year, and I didn't like the change with Fitzgerald. I just felt like in that moment he was the better pick between the two. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think they made a change when we were on probably a three game winning streak, and then they all of a sudden just made a change. If I'm not mistaken, my issue with Tua is kind of my issue that with Jared Goff when he was with the Rams, and the reason I felt like they needed to pick Stafford. We need an explosive quarterback. Tua's not that. I looked at, I think it was about 3 or 4 games last season where he couldn't get the ball downfield. They benched him, put Fitzgerald in the game. All of a sudden, Fitzgerald in the quarter might have 120 yards.
Fitzpatrick.
I'm sorry, Fitzpatrick. So that was my issue. That's my issue with Tua. I don't feel like he can move the ball consistently. I don't agree with how they're doing him because they, like Eric said, they made the choice, and they made a decision to make this move. So Don't mistreat him now that you made a decision to put him in this position. You shouldn't have made it from the get-go, in my opinion. But he's in a terrible situation. This year, the defense special teams is not doing nothing that they did last year. They can't stop anybody. We can't run the ball. We have no receivers. Everything you just said, John, absolutely correct. So he's in a terrible situation on top of not being at that level where he can move the ball and you can just put it in his hands and say, make me victorious in this game. So we got to rock with him. I am, from a fan perspective, I'm rooting for this Watson situation to happen. I hope it happens.
I just want it to be done. So I just want whatever's going to happen, so that way we can just move on with whatever it is. I don't really care at this point. Just do something so we can stop hearing rumors. I'm tired of it.
Right. So, if you make a decision, stick with it, and make a decision, stick with it, and live with the results.
So here are Tua's numbers so far up until this point, and we're going into week 7, which you guys are playing the Falcons in Miami. So, I mean, you're 1-5. My expectation is that you actually beat the Falcons, but it's Matt Ryan, so anything is possible. But here are his numbers so far. He's 50 for 78, 544 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. And we're in week 7. Now, granted, he had his bye week because y'all were over in London. But I'm looking at this and I'm saying, say it again, Chuck, y'all show every Tuesday night at 8:30. Y'all were doing tiers tonight, and Tua was a 4 or a 5. So Jarrell and Ray Lynn, I definitely want to get your gentlemen's thoughts on this, because this was a team last year. And I don't like comparing years, but it's all I have to go on right now. They were a team that was on the cusp of getting themselves to that next level. And now this year, with the additional week, they're sitting at 1-5. No one's thinking they're going to run the table. So does Miami just go back to being bottom of the AFC East? Raylan?
Yes, that's where they're gonna go. So first off, Tua's just not very good. Like that's the reality. He's not very good. Chuck touched on this and he kind of beat me to it. And part of it was because I had Ryan Fitzpatrick in fantasy last year, right? But through 6 games into this year, they're 3-3. Miami wasn't supposed to be very good last year, and they're 3-3 6 weeks into the season. And out of nowhere, it was like I couldn't even. There was nothing. It wasn't like he got hurt. It wasn't like he played bad. They brought Tua in. It was just, we're gonna make this change, right? So they make the change to Tua. You want to know why? Like Tua's his name is John, right?
Yes,
John. Why all of Tua's shortcomings? Why every mistake is amplified? It's because Tua was drafted number 5 and Justin Herbert went number 6. Justin Herbert is the reason that everything Tua does is going to be put under a magnifying glass, because we could have had that guy and we drafted you. And we see if we had that guy, we wouldn't have to wait for you to develop. We wouldn't have to wait to see how good you could be. In a pass-happy league, you can't average 181 yards per game passing unless you're Lamar Jackson and you can run for another 70, which Tua doesn't do. So if you don't pass well and you don't run well, what are we waiting for? Like, again, look at his draft class. Guys are coming out the gate now. Think about, like, from the time Lamar Jackson stepped on the field, the Ravens knew that's our guy. From the time Patrick Mahomes stepped on the field and Alex Smith was good, they knew Patrick Mahomes is our guy. From day one, Herbert was the guy. From day one, Burrow was the guy. Kyler Murray was the guy from day one. They don't have time to be waiting to see how good Tua can be. He's just not very good. And again, with how much talent is coming in the league, we were talking about tiers last show. It's a lot of talented quarterbacks in the league, and you haven't shown us anything to give us a glimmer of hope to say, you know what, that's it. Now we see it. I can't think of a moment where I went, man, that's it. Tua has it. He just doesn't. You
didn't watch the Arizona game last year where he beat Kyler Murray? Did you watch the game where he beat? Did you watch the game where he beat Justin Herbert last year?
Listen, just so you know, John, if I'm ever on the show again, like Eric touched on my favorite quote, my favorite phrase, except I use it differently. When he say quarterbacks get all of the credit and all the blame, I'll always say quarterbacks get too much credit and too much blame. You look at a game like the Colts game, where Carson Wentz did everything he was supposed to do, and his kicker went out and missed it. Did he play any worse? No. But the record books are going to say Lamar Jackson beat Carson Wentz. When Carson Wentz kicker missed the game winner, you look at the Washington game with New York, where they jump off sides and give him another kick. Did Daniel Jones do anything wrong? He just stood there and watched it. So I don't buy the whole idea that this quarterback beat this quarterback. Tua didn't beat Justin Herbert. The Miami Dolphins beat the Chargers. Like Tua didn't beat Kyler Murray. The Miami
outplayed
Dolphins
him.
That's sports any given Sunday. But over a course, over a body of work.
But that doesn't say to you, okay, that's it. He just went out and outplayed Kyler Murray in Arizona. That doesn't say anything to you?
No. What it says to me is for the duration of his time starting, he's averaging 181 yards per game. That's what it says to me. It says he has an 85 passer rating. That's what it's. Again, this is a pass-happy league, and Miami plays from behind a lot. Like 181 yards per game in this era? I don't care who you throwing it to, 181 yards per game? Like, and again, a huge part of that is what these other guys are doing. Like, you look at Justin Herbert and go, that's it. You look at Joe Burrow and go, oh, he legit. Even the guys that are losing now.
But you don't factor in the fact that Chan Gailey would not let him, and Chuck knows that Chan Gailey would not let him throw more than 5 yards, throw dump offs last year. And this year they have like 3 offensive coordinators, which any quarterback that has 3 offensive coordinators, how are you supposed to succeed? Like you have 3 different voices in your ear, which is just stupid. It was a dumb idea from the beginning. So
I mean, you're a fan, which makes you kind of an apologist. So I get how that works. But think about us, that I don't have a dog in this fight. I'm not an AFC East fan. I don't dislike Miami. I don't like Miami. I don't dislike Alabama players that come to the league. I don't like them. I don't care one way or another. Tua's just not very good, right? And again, when you compare him to the guys he was drafted with, those guys are leaps and bounds beyond him. So now as a franchise, you look and go, man, we don't have 4 years to wait. These guys are getting busy right now. Justin Herbert in his second year looks like a top 10 quarterback in the NFL.
Okay, well, you give Tua, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, Jared Cook, a line that's going to hold up every single play. You give him that. You give him the defense that is just shutting people down on the other side of the ball like the Chargers are this year.
Except for last week.
And then you give Tua that team that Justin Herbert has, and then we'll see how Tua does. Put Justin Herbert on the Dolphins with no offensive line, no running back, 3 offensive coordinators this year. No, they're worse. They're bad. So nobody's going to succeed, is my point, under what the Dolphins are doing. It's abysmal.
John, the first topic we talked, we were in agreement. And as you were making your points, I was like, oh, I can't wait till me and him disagree. I like this guy, right? So I get it. I get where you're going with that, and you're going to fight for your guy, and you're going to be rah-rah for your guy. But the reality is he's just not that good. When you said they won't let him throw 5 yards, I don't want to switch this to a Lamar conversation. But when people tell me the Ravens offense is bad because Lamar, they coordinated to where he can't throw. I say, you ever think they coordinate based on his skill set? You think these people see him in practice every day and then go out and call an offense that don't allow him to do what he's good at? They call an offense to mask what he's not good at. He doesn't throw it past 5 yards because he's not very good throwing it past 5 yards.
All right, let me get Jarrell in here, and then I do have to take a quick break. But Jarrell, go ahead, get in here, man.
Hey, I think we all on the same page. The bigger problem.
I'm not. But go ahead. I'm not. But go ahead.
But the bigger problem is not so much Tua, but the administration of this football team and how they brought him in. Tua coming out of Alabama, I wasn't a fan from the get-go. He was behind a strong offensive line. I didn't see him look good, coming outside the pocket anyway. He was small. He was getting banged up. He had a bad injury. They put all their chips on Black and went with him when, like you said, when they could have had Herbert. Now, to your point, Jay, if Herbert was in the same situation, I don't think it would be a good look. First year Tua played, they kind of play, on the fence. If you don't play good, we're gonna go with Fitzmagic. You can't do that with them. He has to develop. He needs to develop, man, and it's not a good look. So they kind of did him real dirty. But he has no O-line. He doesn't look good, and he's not consistent. So that won a couple games that he looked good, like you said, against Arizona, it don't matter, man. It don't matter. The bigger issue is the administration effed up, and they put all their money on the wrong guy. He is not the guy for the Dolphins. And they have no offense right now. They have no offensive line. They have no weapons. They messed up. They are back to the bottom. All y'all make great.
All right, Mike, I'm going to give you just a couple of minutes, and then I am going to go to break because we have to switch to the NBA. But thank you for joining us. So I know you love talking about this topic.
Well, no, because I Raylan, everything you said I'm agreeing with. But look, being on the left coast and being a Pac-12 homer, Eric and John know this. Justin Herbert, if he would have came out the year before, would have been the number one pick. Justin Herbert was a better pick for Miami than Tua was, hands down. If people didn't watch him in college, again, I didn't see every single game, but I saw a ton of his games and broke them down on film. I'll just say this. Herbert would have been a better pick for the Dolphins. I wasn't sold on Tua, but to John's point, we've talked about this before, John. That game against the Chargers, he threw for like 130 some odd yards, 140 yards. So it's not like he did anything great. The defense made plays. Look, he has been hurt. He needed to get better. But I'll just wrap it up saying that I would definitely look to move on from him because Herbert, if Herbert was there with that line, yeah, it might not be the same, but he'd still make more plays than Tua because he's just that bigger physical quarterback. So, again, I mean, look, I'm with you, Don. If you put Lamar Jackson there, it would be, well, they'd probably win more because he'd have to run away from everybody. But he would struggle. It would be different. But, dude, don't tell me that Tua in college was better than Herbert just because he played for Alabama. If you watched Herbert, again, if he didn't want to try and come back win a national title, he's the number one pick the year before, and it's not even close.
All right, fair enough. Gentlemen, stick with me. When we come back, we're going to talk about the NBA because I definitely want to get your thoughts because we're actually going to go somewhere that I personally love, my hometown Philly, and talk about all that drama that's going on there. More with the entire crew here on the Sports Arena. Yeah, I know, Mike, your favorite subject. Be back in just a moment.
Generations Physical Therapy has been the Tri-State's leader in physical therapy services for over 20 years. And now we have a convenient location right in the heart of the capital city of Charleston, just off I-64. With convenient parking and flexible hours, your access to physical therapy is second to none. Plus, Snap Fitness is also in sight with 2 floors of gym equipment and sports enhancement training through A-Game Sports Performance. So whether you're needing hands-on physical therapy or looking to get results in our gym, our family's ready to help yours. Generations Physical Therapy and Snap Fitness. Multiple services, multiple locations. Experience you can count on.
And welcome back into the Sports Arena. Your man, Eric Wilson, along with the entire crew. Before I forget, I want to give a special shout out to my man, Brian Snow from Snowman in the Morning. Great conversation that him and I had yesterday with regard to the WNBA champion Chicago Sky and just them bringing the franchise their first victory, the first of a few, if you ask me. But definitely really appreciate him taking the time to have me on. I look forward to seeing him at Wintrust. But let me get the crew back in here. We've got our man, Fox Sports 1340 AM, John Shear, Believe in the Pac-12, Mike Caratanudo, and my 3 special guests tonight, sports reporter without pay, Ray Lynn, the future, Dr. Jarrell Hester from Jarrell's Journal, and from Say What, Say It Again, fresh off his show that they did, special time last night, but it is each and every Tuesday at 8:30 on Facebook, YouTube, and all social media facts. It's my man, Chuck. So, gentlemen, I want to transition to the NBA because I need some help. I'm going to be real with y'all, okay? I am sick and tired of this whole Ben Simmons drama that is going on in Philly. Can we please just move on from this man? Because the season has started, and I need to know that my team is going to be at least one of the top 4 or 5 teams in the playoffs this year. So that is my hope. But Chuck, if you are in the position of a Daryl Worley, with the 76ers, what do you say to Doc Rivers about Ben Simmons?
It's a good question that I really don't know if I have the answer to.
That's Doc's response, Chuck. He has the same response as you, Chuck.
I pretty much think you just say, let that man, let him whine, let him complain, and you go on coaching your team. To me, that's the only option. Right now, he's being kind of a prima donna, and we all know he's a great talent, but you haven't done anything on that level.
No, he's not. No, he's not. I'm not even gonna let you formulate your list.
Well,
say
I disagree.
Says the bitter Sixers fan.
This is about being bitter. This is about what you do during your season and what you do in the postseason. That I can visibly see you not taking control of the game when the team wants you to be in control or have some sort of defensive presence. And you mean to tell me you just want to pass the ball instead of taking an easy layup, or you just don't have the defensive skills to get the job done when going up against teams that you know you are able to contend and play against them? But I'm sorry. This is not me being bitter, Mike. This is me looking at this and saying, bro, you should not be playing for our team. Go somewhere where you feel you're going to get your time. Because when we gave you your time, you wasn't about your business. So,
But Eric, that's why I said elite talent, not elite player. There's a difference. There's a huge difference.
Okay.
He is an elite talent.
Mm-hmm.
He's an elite talent.
I will agree.
I mean, you look at 6'10". I can handle the ball. I can pass the ball. I can rebound. I should be able to score, which is that's where the issue comes into play. That's what the issue comes. He's a great defender. He's a great rebounder. He's a great passer. But when it comes to scoring, that's when everybody has their issue. Because he's just not. That's just not him. He doesn't have it. So I don't think he's an elite player, but I really do think he's an elite talent. I mean, you can't teach that side. You can't teach that.
Your size doesn't necessarily mean you have talent.
His IQ was very high. I mean, he's a talented player. When we look at talent, what's the first thing you think about? You think about size, athleticism, what they can do. I mean, it's nothing he can't do. He just don't score the ball. He can do everything else. He just refuses to shoot the ball.
Okay.
He does everything.
I'm gonna let everybody else speak on this one because y'all know I'll go all night about this, but I'll let the rest of y'all go on this one. I'm gonna gracefully maintain.
Eric, I just want to say this. I think that I see what Chuck's saying, and again with him not being like that scorer, but yeah, you can't coach a guy in this day and age of the NBA, probably since like 2000, that actually wants to play defense in the end. But he's trying to be like James Harden was in Houston. But to Chuck's point, since he can't score like James Harden, he ain't getting out that quick. So again, I get it, but Eric, I'm with you. I mean, I even said last year after when they say they're going to trade him, and I think you may have even said that. I don't care if you get 40 or 50 cents, 30, 50 cents on the dollar, you got to get him out. And all he's doing now is just collecting a paycheck. So they might as well just pay him not to be there until they figure out, like you said, to trade him. But I'm with Chuck, man. I hate giving up a guy that can play defense like that.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Doc. Hey, man, my bad, man. I'm sorry, man. We messed up, bro. We messed up, man. Hey, look, we tried to do what we could in the off season. I know it. But hey, look, this is what we're gonna do. He came in, he tried to Brandon Marshall us, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna mess up his pocket. Just hold tight, bro. Just hold tight. It's a bad divorce. That's all this is. Hold tight, bro. Shit. That's what need to happen, bro. That's what need to happen. Hey, he's showing his butt out, man. He's cutting up. He Brandon Marshall, y'all, man. He came in with a game plan this season, and it's business. It's business. You can't hate on what Ben Simmons doing. He already told you.
I can hate on it, and I hate it.
He already told you what he wanted.
He's a child.
He don't want to be there, man. He don't want to be there. What you
So if
gonna
he don't
do?
want to be there,
He's a
then get
child.
to stepping.
But they making them. They making them. They
Go.
There's a difference between business and I'm going to take my ball and go home and act like a 3-year-old.
Hey,
Get
look,
out of here. You're a
Brandon Marshall is-
professional. You're a
Brandon Marshall is
professional.
just like the
and-
rest of us, man. He been watching.
Yeah.
He been watching.
Did you say that about
Brandon.
Marshall, or did you say that about
Yeah,
James Harden
about Brandon
last year?
Marshall?
Did you
Me?
say it about James Harden last year?
Yes, I did. Would you like to go back and watch the videos?
I mean, maybe.
You know I'm a man that sticks by my word. I said about James Harden. Brandon Marshall, don't even bring up Brandon Marshall because that guy was a clown. So I don't know why you're bringing up him because you can go back and watch how he was in the NFL. He had nothing but antics. He was a clown. So let's not bring up Brandon Marshall.
He wasn't productive.
He was a clown.
He was productive.
He was
productive.
immature.
He wanted to get
and he
out of
wasn't about
Denver.
the team.
He
Right,
wanted
he
to
wanted
get out.
to get out of Denver.
He wanted to get out, and it
Be a-
worked.
It's called
It worked.
you're a professional athlete. Be a professional athlete, not a child. Ben Simmons is acting like a child. You don't take your ball and go home. You don't throw the ball or whatever they had where Doc Rivers threw him out of practice. You don't act like that. You're a professional. Act like it. If you don't like it, none of these teams should pick him up. None of them. They should all just pass on him because
that
he's a
won't
big
happen.
child. He's a baby, and I don't want that kind of guy on my team. That guy's a loser. I don't want that on my team. That's not a professional athlete. Get out of here. with that.
Damian Lillard would take him in a heartbeat in Portland because
Nah.
they get a defender like that. Oh, really? They get a defender like that who doesn't have to shoot? Portland would take him in a heartbeat.
You mean he
It was
doesn't have to
time out
shoot?
there.
He doesn't know how to shoot.
Doesn't
Raylan,
matter.
you've
He
been
doesn't have to.
awfully-
He just has to play defense.
Raylan, you've been awfully quiet about this, sir. I see the wheels turning, so I've got to hear this one, my brother.
I wanted to allow them their opportunity. But so let's start here. I've been saying for 3 years now that Philly should trade Ben Simmons. Before even any of this nonsense, I said Philly either needed to trade Ben Simmons or trade Joel Embiid because of how they play the game. What they need around them to be successful is the same thing. Like Ben Simmons is a point guard, but he plays big. I keep telling people Ben Simmons is Greek freak light. That's what he is. He's a big guy who can dribble. He can handle the ball. He can facilitate. He can rebound. He can defend. Just don't really have a jump shot. He's Greek freak light. If he had Greek freak's aggressiveness, like what we're seeing from him in year 4 is about the same thing we saw from Greek in about year 3 or 4. Then Greek just kept getting better. Ben Simmons has been the same guy since his rookie year, right? So I said what those guys need around them, him and Embiid, they both operate in the paint. They need a bunch of shooters around them. That's what Milwaukee did for Greek. They went and got a 7-foot guy that shoots to get out of his way in the paint. They put Lopez out there, put him out there with Middleton, put him out there with Bledsoe, Brogdon, like put a bunch of shooters around him and let him operate. That's what Ben Simmons needs, but unfortunately the best player on his team is a 7-foot guy. So that combination don't even work. But then you add this onto it. I didn't like what James Harden did last year, but I understood it. James Harden, a guy who poured his heart and soul, his blood, sweat, and tears into that team, went out for 5-6 years in a row, finishing second in MVP voting, went to the Western Conference Finals twice. Like, that's a guy that can say, you know what? I tried, it didn't work. The one guy that I was like, you got the nerve to demand a trade was Aaron Gordon. And that's how I feel about Ben Simmons. Like, what have you done to have the right to be upset? They drafted you number 1. You the one who haven't lived up to expectations. They paid you $100 million. You the one who haven't lived up to expectations. And now you sit here and act like your feelings hurt because somebody just put your stuff on the table and said he didn't perform when he needed to. Newsflash, they called Magic Johnson Tragic Johnson when he played bad. They said Mike couldn't win playing the way he played. They said Kobe shot too much. They said Kobe couldn't win without Shaq. They said LeBron didn't have heart. Like, the greatest players to ever play this game have been criticized. And Ben Simmons' feelings is hurt, and we supposed to care because his feelings. Stop it, man. Stop it. I agree with Chuck. He has the total package if he could put it all together, but he hasn't shown us that. And now he ruined his trade value. Who wants that? A 6'10" guy in a crucial game in the playoff who spins baseline and instead of laying the ball up and dunking it, that play told the whole world who Ben Simmons was. If I'm a GM, what do I want with that? So now he has no trade value. About to ruin Joel Embiid's prime now. They paid you and Joel Embiid to be their Kobe and Shaq of the future. Stretch far as talent, but that's what they wanted. Their guard and their big. Y'all was supposed to be their duo of the future. Now Tobias Harris is forced to be a number 2. He's not that. Sorry, Eric. Y'all not going to be top 4 in the East this year.
Hold on,
Ray Lynn.
I agree with you. That's the point y'all are missing. I agree with everything.
No, I knew
that.
I knew you agreed from jump when you said, I'm going to let y'all get it off. I'm saying sorry to you because you said, hopefully we could be top 4 in the East. I don't see it. We know Brooklyn and Milwaukee ain't going nowhere.
But if we get rid of Ben Simmons, okay, if we get rid of him and get rid of that drama and we can solely focus on the game, there are going to be some key matchups this season that I feel we can take some from some people that will allow us to maintain being in that top 4 or 5. If we're in listen,
but you need another shooter.
We could find that.
Eric, this is no disrespect to your team, right? Sure. The league is so flooded with talent now. So let's just say we know Brooklyn and Milwaukee gonna be who they are, right?
Yep.
Miami made moves in the offseason, right?
Yes.
We expect Miami to be a little bit better. Chicago made moves. We expect them to be better. Boston made moves. We expect them to be better. Do you really think a team with Tobias Harris as their number 2 guy can be a top 2, top 3, top 4 team? And there's no disrespect to him. I like Tobias Harris.
But they got Seth Green. They got Danny Green. They got Seth Curry. I mean,
you sound like John talking about Tua. This is sad.
Ray Lynn, exactly. He does, Ray Lynn. Ray Lynn, no, hold on, Ray Lynn. But follow me on this though. If Portland's got some extra shooters too, if Portland would trade for him, I'm telling you right now, he can. I mean, look, Lillard can take a little break. Doesn't always have to bring the ball up the court. To your point, we all know he's a point guard. That being said, you put him and Lillard and McCullough together where he doesn't have to worry about shooting. If they can keep Nurkic and just give up a few extra shooters.
Michael, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem. I'm Portland's GM. You call me offering Ben Simmons, right? Or I'm Philly's GM. I'm Daryl Morey, right? If it don't involve McCollum, it ain't no deal.
Facts.
There won't be a Lillard McCollum Simmons.
I don't think you're in the driver's seat anymore in regards to what his asking price is. I think you lost that when Ben Simmons did this.
To Ray Lynn, to your point, if they would have done this a year ago at the beginning of the season last year, 100%. But to John's point right there, as much as I hate to agree with him, is that now that Ben Simmons is acting like this, if you're Portland, you can throw it out there. That's one team in the West, with as cluttered as the West is, and look, we saw what the Warriors did last night without Steph shooting good and Klay Thompson, who's about a month and a half away. If you put Ben Simmons there with McCollum and Lillard, I mean, look, maybe you have to give up Nurkic, which is a little bit down low, but look, Simmons can go rebound, like you said. You don't need him to crazy score. Handle the rock and dish it. Because to John's point now, and to your point, Ray Lynn, you can lowball the Sixers. Sorry, Eric. But Ben Simmons did this. So you can lowball them and see what they want to do because you're still paying his contract. So what you get in return or what you're giving in return, there's no – I mean, I know, look, it has to be percentages, but they could dump draft picks in it too and give up a few other shooters that they have.
5 months ago, the deal that made sense for everybody is 2 deals that would have made sense for Philly 5 months ago. Ben Simmons for Kyrie or Ben Simmons for CJ McCollum. Both made sense for all parties involved. Philly gets a guard who will actually come off the pick and roll and try and score. And Portland gets the wing that they've been missing for the last 7 years, right?
Nah, for real. Check this out. This is what I need you to do for me. I know you ain't going to get the money. I know there's about $8.25 million on the table. But I need you to just transfer that into someone else's account for a little while. Get Ben out of there and bring whoever you need to bring from Portland. That's what you need to do. Bring them from Portland. I know you ain't going, but the return is going to be so much greater than what you spend. Trust and believe that. Tell Jeffrey I said what's up. Holla at your boy.
I was going to say real quick. I know we're bringing up Portland. Now, to me, if you can get rid of him and get nothing, if that's basically what y'all saying, the perfect spot for him, and they was talking about it, it was all over social media, but would be Golden State. He doesn't have to do nothing but bring the ball up court. Everybody on the court can shoot. Everybody. You put him on the court and you got a Steph Curry. You got a.
But they already have that in Draymond Green, a guy that can't shoot. Yeah. They already have that. Why do you need 2 of them?
Draymond Green can shoot better than Simmons.
No,
but I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why before Ray go. Because if you put that lineup in there and you got them at the 4 and the 5, and all you got to do is have your 4 and the 5 bringing the ball up court every time, you have a problem.
Hey, question: What do you do with Draymond? Are you saying trade?
But that's Draymond? What I'm saying. You can interchange that. If you
can't have 2 guys that can't shoot on the court.
Listen to what I'm saying. Right now, there's only a few teams that doesn't play small ball that has dominant 5s. If you put a Ben Simmons at the 4 and you put a Draymond at the 5, you are elite defensively. You are elite defensively, and you can put that ball in your 4 or your 5's hands and bring it up court. And Seth and Klay can have a Jordan Poole and everybody. They can have a field day.
I thought you were saying trade Draymond for Ben.
No. I'm not saying. I'm
Let
saying
me get Raylan. Let me get Raylan in there. Go ahead, Raylan, and then Jarrell. I do want to hear from you.
Yeah, in a perfect world.
It's a friend of mine, Courtney Kennedy, and he's very well versed in contracts and stuff like that. Like when people just throw out stuff, he'd be like, "Y'all, that's not gonna work." So when we mentioned Golden State has the biggest payroll in the NBA right now, and Ben Simmons has $100 million contract. And the way we're talking is we're just gonna plug him in with Draymond, Clay, and Steph, who all have $30+ million per year contracts. The only deal that even remotely close to make sense is Andrew Wiggins, who's getting about 24-25 million a year, and nobody mentioned his name. So like when we say Ben Simmons and y'all saying getting him for nothing was what y'all threw out, it's got to be somebody that got the room on the books to take him. You can't just send him to go.
No, I know that. It has to be a percentage.
Right.
No, I know it has to be a percentage, Raylan. It has to be within a certain percentage, but they could also put draft picks in on that. And plus some of the guys you're dumping, I mean, their salaries. But Raylan, you brought up a great point. I think of it. You have to make it a 3-team trade. You have to bring a third team in to match up the numbers.
Yeah, because Golden State literally has 4 guys getting paid 25 million plus. Like Steph is up there near the 40 range, 40 some odd million, right? And Clay getting paid by not playing. Draymond is getting paid, and Wiggins is getting paid. So you just throw another $30 million guy in there. It's like,
right. Well, one of them would have to be gone.
But remember, that's why I said when the guys started saying what they were saying, I know it can't happen. But when you start throwing out, oh, we can just get them for nothing, that's to me, if that's what you're saying, I know it can't happen because of course we know it can't happen. But I'm saying in a perfect world, based off his game and what we're saying he could reach his ceiling, that's probably the only team I see where he can reach his ceiling with those type of players around.
That's why Ben Simmons for Kyrie made so much sense.
But we none of us mentioned.
I don't think so, right?
None of us mentioned that we don't know what Philly's mindset is at this point with what Simmons just did and how he's acting. We don't know what Philly's mindset is if they're willing to budge. We don't know if they're willing, if they're like the Texans standing right where they're at.
Eric is Philly's mindset.
Would you like to know Philly's mindset? I can tell you Philly's mindset. Matter of fact, I wasn't going to do a rant tonight, but since y'all want to talk about Ben Simmons in Philadelphia, I know I brought it up. I can do a rant real quick and let you know what Philly's mindset is. Please believe that. But I want to show love to my brother, the future Dr. Jarrell Heslip, on this one. Please, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I'm loving this conversation, man. Ray, that was all y'all made perfect and dope points. Chuck, I can't see this one going to Golden State running to that formula doesn't work, and it's proved not to work in the last 2 series to me. They need a big man to go up against LA and these other teams, man. Those small balls ain't working to me. I really like him to Portland. That would make a lot of sense, putting him around shooters where he doesn't have to focus on the shooter.
And he can defend down low, Jarrell.
And he can defend down low. And then you know what? Portland is looking very good, not just as your starting 5 on the bench as well. You got my boy from the Ville coming in. He's looking a lot better this year. You got my boy Dennis Smith Junior Smith, who is another hard scorer, and they got his confidence back up. Hey, man, they gonna look good, man. They gonna look good. If you
I have a scenario.
I think that'd be dope.
I don't know the numbers, but I have a scenario where Philly could win and this other team could win. What if you send Ben Simmons to Sacramento and you send Marvin Bagley back to Philly? Because Marvin Bagley is not part of the equation right now. According to his agent, he's basically not part of the team.
The money doesn't match
so what
up.
if you
have
send
to add a lot more?
But what if you send Bagley over to Philly and Simmons over to Sacramento?
You have to send
if the numbers work out.
Okay, so here 2 things about the Bagley thing, right? Somebody said we don't know what Philly's mindset is, and somebody mentioned, can they just not budge? And somebody said Deshaun Watson. The difference is Deshaun Watson is the franchise player in Houston. Them not budging is like, we don't really, but Embiid is the franchise player. So you waste all this time not budging on this guy, and you're wilting away this guy's prime who just had a career. I mean, Embiid really came out last year. If he can do this all the time, he's a perennial MVP candidate, and you're going to waste his prime with his number 2 being a prima donna, right? As far as Bagley, what Philly don't need no forwards. Philly don't need no bigs. Tobias is a small ball kind of forward, right? They need guard play. That's why I said CJ McCollum. That's why I said Kyrie. Don't have to be those guys. If you're gonna talk Sacramento, Halliburton is the guy. Halliburton is the guy you
I'm just saying
want in
because
Sacramento.
Bagley seems to not be fitting in with what Sacramento is doing for some reason, and
Where-
Simmons
where he
isn't
gonna fit in
fitting in
Philly?
with what Philly's doing. So
But where's he going to fit in Philly? If Tobias is your starting four, and people don't realize Tobias was giving you 20 a game last year on 50-40 nights.
I know
Nobody
it is.
talks about
Yeah.
it, right? Embiid had an MVP season. Do Bagley want to go there and come off the bench? Is he going to be happy?
you figure it
What
out
do
if you're Doc Rivers because you need something.
you
And
need guard play. Philly hasn't had a guard
You
that
need
can
guards.
create offense in 4 years.
So Ray,
Well-
would you do a Ben Simmons for a De'Aaron Fox?
The problem, hell, can I curse on this?
Yeah. You can say hell yeah.
Without a doubt, right? Because
Right.
again, like I said, I'm just naming guards that you need a guy that when he's running the high pick and roll, he's at least a threat when he turns that corner. Ben Simmons was never a threat. Everybody's seen the little meme of Stephen A. where it's like, that's when Ben Simmons is open for a three, what the defense is doing, right? That's been very problematic. He needs to operate again like Greek, but the problem is you have Embiid. So you just need guard play. They had it. They let Jimmy Butler go. I know. I don't want to get Eric worked up, man. I don't want to get Eric.
Hey,
worked
thank
up.
you, Eric. I
Ray,
appreciate
why
that.
are
We
you making
really
Eric
enjoy Jimmy
mad?
Butler
Why
down
are
here.
you
We
making
really
Eric
enjoy
mad,
him.
Ray?
No, because
Jimmy
he's
Buckets,
spitting,
baby.
at Eric.
he's spitting
He's
knowledge
poking.
and facts. And trust me, when Jimmy left to come down to the 305, I was like,
He
well,
is
I can go
happy
see-
down here. I just want to let you
At
know
least
that.
I can go see Jimmy
And
more.
Jimmy's a
you know,
diva.
I mean, no,
No, he's
not.
not.
That's all he is. Yes, he is.
Oh my God.
Mike,
Okay,
I agree
Mike.
with you, Mike. I agree
Mike.
with you. I agree.
Mike
Thank
and
you, Chuck.
Chuck, you
Hey,
both-
hey.
I agree with
First
you.
of all, he loved playing for Tom Thibodeau. Then in Minnesota, all of a sudden, he can't play for Thibodeau anymore, and he needs this and he needs that. Is he? I didn't say he wasn't a talented player. So before you guys all kill me,
I'm
and
not
Chuck at
killing
least
you.
caught on to that. Before you guys all kill me, I know I love his talent. He's still a diva, and yes, he is performing. But I'm still not taking Miami over Milwaukee. I'm still not taking him over Brooklyn. And if they figure out Ben Simmons, Eric, I told you how it pains me how I feel about Embiid in Philly because to Ray Lynn's point, as we all know, they get another shooter. They get a good shooter, and you have him around. You have him around Embiid and Harris. Like
Man,
Philly's right there. So I'm not going to put
Philly-
Miami above them, but no, they're not above Brooklyn. Well, Kyrie's not there, but with Harden and Durant, they're still not above Brooklyn.
hey, Eric, at this
Yes, sir.
point, I'm sure y'all just want to be done with it, right? Philly
Yes.
fans.
Yes.
Here are a list of players that would all like Fred VanVleet would make sense. Y'all mentioned De'Aaron Fox. He would make sense. I mentioned Tyrese Halliburton. He would make sense. We talked about CJ McCollum. We talked about Kyrie. Any guard, say Gilgeous-Alexander would make sense, right? A bunch of any guard who can create offense because you don't need to do a whole lot because Embiid is great. He's like a generational talent who's great. You need a formidable guard. That's it. A guard who will shoot the ball. A guard who can create some space and then run the offense in spurts when Embiid's not on the floor. Ben Simmons had everything except
Ray
he
Lynn.
would shoot the ball. That's it.
Ray
We're
Lynn,
taking-
I
we're
think
taking
Philly
that at
needs
this point.
Eric Wilson.
They already got him on the
Eric
Eagles.
Wilson.
They already have him on the Eagles.
Hey, well, put another one on the Sixers, and we'll just run the table. Hey, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. I really appreciate it. Let me make sure I give my flowers to all my fellas on here. First off, the future Dr. Jarrell Heslett. Make sure you check him out on Jarrell's Journal. Hey, man, when you dropping some new material? We waiting on you, brother. What's up?
Hey man, we trying to do this research, but I was supposed to have with Edrin James coming on
Big
next
time.
week and a half. So
Okay. Be on the lookout for that. We love that, man. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you, brother. My man Chuck from Say What, Say It Again just got off his show, jumping on our show. I really appreciate you, brother. Hey,
Yes,
it's great. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Shout out to you and all the fellas that Say What, Say It Again. I'm going to talk to y'all really soon. Ray Lynn, my brother, hey, you know the door is always open. Anytime you want to come on and talk, you know we live Mondays and Wednesdays. Feel free to pop in. We appreciate the knowledge. We appreciate the love, man. Mike Caratanudo, John Shear, my brothers, I appreciate y'all for being here tonight. We're going to get Mike a little avatar so he ain't looking so dark next time. Where were you at tonight, brother?
Oh, working.
Okay.
Work, and then I got a break, and I had to do this. But yeah, it is a little. I'm under the night sky here on the left coast, so there's no more sun though. But the moon's bright.
There you go.
Hey,
I'll holler
the
at
moon's
you, man.
brighter than Ben Simmons' future. Future in Philly.
Amen to that one. My man John Shear, my brother, love you, man. I'll definitely talk to y'all. Hey, I'll see you tomorrow night on the Carousel. Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel live tomorrow night, 7 p.m. right here on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. That's going to do it for us here on the Sports Arena. Much love to everybody. Again, I will see y'all tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel. Peace.